In August 2015, Michael Koretzky, a regional director for the Society of Professional Journalists, hosted the SPJ Airplay conference. Well, actually, first off, were you in Gamergate at the time, or was this before you?
Yeah. No, I was in Gamergate by then.
Okay. The idea of the conference was to have journalistic ethics experts meet with Gamergate supporters to discuss their concerns about games journalism and the way the media covered Gamergate. The second half of the conference was interrupted by bomb threats, forcing the convention center to be evacuated. Do you have any thoughts on this event?
Uh, my first thought is I wish that had been the first time a Gamergate event had been canceled by bomb threats. Remember there being, I believe it was a DC meetup that
Yep.
got canceled by a bomb threat.
There wasn't one in
But
Australia too, I think, right? Or no? Or was that a fire? There was some
I
sort of thing that happened in Australia.
yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the specifics on that one, but I definitely remember the DC one. And yeah, that just I think that was the coalescence of the thing I was kind of stumbling around earlier trying to say where there was a side willing to talk and a side willing to shut them up because that side was invalid. And I think that kind of yes, there were people who just, like legitimately had their disagreements. Kind of the more extremist aspect of anti-gamergate was very much living up to the anti part of it in ways that still kind of blow my mind. And yeah, that was definitely one of the big ones.
Did you watch the Airplay event either live or after
Yeah.
the fact?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
It's I thought it was interesting. Like I remember because yeah, it was long. I watched it at the time. It's been a long time, but yeah, it's definitely one of my most vivid memories of a certain game diviner. I remember him giving a pretty good speech there. But one of the things I also remember is the immediate aftermath was I remember there was a local paper that had mentioned that that Gamergate had completely skipped its notice until there was a bomb threat in their town, and they started soliciting like opinion pieces from pro and anti about what this movement is because now it's affecting their community. I remember reading a couple of articles from Gamergaters. I don't remember if any anti-Gamergaters ended up submitting anything, but I remember them saying that they'd actually heard enough from Gamergate. They released out like two or three pieces of one to hear from the other side now. But I remember, like even at that point, we were still very willing to reach out to journalists who would listen.
Oh my gosh. It's funny you mentioned that because I actually wrote one of those articles.
Oh,
Let me see if I can find it real quick because I know the web there I don't think that newspaper exists anymore, but
ah,
oh my gosh. Let me see if I can find it. That is so funny. Because I'm actually I really put my soul into that. I wrote that.
yeah,
I wrote the article and I just wanted to change people's minds contemporaneously.
yeah.
And I really want to see what I wrote. But dude, there were so many. They published like I don't know, like almost 10 people, and I think they include some anti-Gamergate people as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I had like a whole opinion piece, op-ed in their paper. Anyway, well, do you want me to find it or not?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'll be going through like the archives here, so bear with me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. There is no evidence that Gamergate is a sexist movement by Kevin McDonald. I've spent hundreds of hours of the last 8 months dedicated to Gamergate, and yet I find it difficult to write this opinion piece. I first found out about Gamergate around January. Okay, okay. It's just cringe, dude. So funny, though. It's super long. Anyway, I don't know if you saw my article at the time.
I saw a couple of them. I don't think I knew that was your name then, so I might not have associated it.
Why do you think the media didn't cover SPJ Airplay?
I think in a lot of cases, like especially with like the, when you get into like the televised and like published papers, there's definitely the sense that gaming is a kid's toy. There's I remember once seeing a news piece on one of the big networks of people being shocked of people getting tennis elbow from playing Wii Sports after that came out, because it's a game. Doing the same motions as tennis shouldn't give you tennis elbow. Where it's there's no, like, a lot of cases there's no understanding or no interest in understanding. So it's something about gaming that's obviously not important. And I remember actually I think Michael Koretzky was involved in that one, but a little after Airplay, I think, was when that famous article of a game journalist who just like absolutely loathed like the how mundane that was. Like, it was all games are stupid. He'd rather be talking about Filipino politics.
Oh
I
yes,
think
I do remember
I think,
this.
yeah, I think Michael Koretzky was actually wrote like just a scathing tearing that apart. Like, he's on the rooftop of the hotel, and no one would care if you fell off of it. Like, write about what you're actually there to cover. I remember that cracked me up.
Well, it's. I mean, I get it. Like, you didn't want this. Like, a lot of those people, they didn't really want to be games journalists. They just sort
Right.
of that's the job they could get because they couldn't get a job
R-
at the New York Times, and so they're like really pissed that they're working in what they
right.
consider to be like this kid's toy hobby. But
Yeah.
that's your job. You got to take it seriously, right? You gotta go
Y-
out there. Like, people, like, if a McDonald's employee probably doesn't want to be working at McDonald's, right? They don't want to be flipping
exactly.
burgers or dealing with angry customers all the time. They'd rather be doing other
Yeah.
stuff, but they still go out there and they do their job. They don't complain about it all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. I mean, there was the aspect of games journalism that was sort of antagonistic to Gamergate, and there was the one that just flat out was embarrassed to be games journalism. I think that was some of the pushback too of caring about ethics in games journalism. Like, why does that matter from the people whose job is to cover is games journalism? Where you could, like, some of them, like, just it was a means to an end. They're hoping to get into real journalism. And the sooner they left, the better. Was kind of the attitude they tended to give off.
Some people, including our mutual friend Game Diviner, believed that Gamergate should have ended after SPJ Airplay. What do you think of that?
Uh, at the time, could not have disagreed more. Looking back, yeah, it's probably a good time for it.
Yeah, torrential downpour was after SPJ Airplay though, and I feel like that was a very important thing that we did. At the time, I was very much opposed to
Yeah,
the end Gamergate idea,
yeah,
but I understand why. I understand why some people wanted to do it, and maybe it was a good idea.
yeah,
We still could have done torrential downpour without it being a Gamergate thing.
yeah. 'Cause I mean, like, we still had like the circle of people who'd gone through that, people who still cared about gaming. But I could see that with or without Gamergate, honestly.
But also, Gamergate was fun. It was exciting. There's
Yeah,
new stuff all the time. We were plugged in.
exactly.
We cared about it. We had fun with it. And there were bad moments
Yeah,
too, but like there were a lot of great moments, great friendships, and a lot of people wanted to keep
yeah,
going.
yeah. That was definitely, I think, where things started to wind down, and I was definitely kind of in denial of it. Like you said, like, torrential downpour was still, like, was still after that, and that was still good. But yeah, I remember, like, everyone was suggesting, we've like, Gamergate's fulfilled its mission, where I wanted more. This is the most, like, this is something new and exciting, and I'm actually a part of it. When does that happen?
Yeah, it's like this was a major part of our lives. We still cared about the cause, and it's like, well, we had our conference. Let's go home, everybody. It's like, well,
Yeah,
wait, hold up. I feel like there's still some
yeah,
important work that needs to be done here. What are we doing?
yeah.
Some Gamergate supporters believed that pressuring advertisers to pull out would be a good way to convince gaming publications to initiate ethical reforms. What did you think of this strategy?
I think it was the one, like, it shouldn't have been the first choice, but it's kind of the one we were left with after the gamers did push back, where it's that you will not listen to us, so we'll find someone else who will. Where it was kind of, where it's not ideal, but our hands were kind of forced a bit in that front to get the change we wanted, when like we would not be heard out otherwise. Where it was going to the people holding the purse strings.
So you think that it was necessary to bring them to the negotiating table?
Yes.
Do you think that because you cost them so much money, though, that you made it less likely for them to come to the table because they're like, well, fuck these guys. They're fucking trying to destroy our business.
I mean, I definitely understand that mindset, but at the same point, we were already dead, so there was already no, like, them at the negotiating table and hating us was still them at the negotiating table, which we didn't have before. It's like not ideal, but it's the option that was left.
Did you support any of these? Did you support Operation Disrespectful Nod or the email campaigns, or were you not involved with that?
That was before my time. I wish I had, though, because that seemed like actually getting involved in that probably would have been ignored. But being part of that, I kind of felt like I missed out on like the big moment.